All right. have your seats.
We want to welcome you to Belgo's Funeral Home for the homegoing service of our dear brother Bharat. We want to invite at this time Sister Karen Modest, who will lead us through this section of the service. Once this part is completed, we will do a final viewing, and then the cremation process will begin at that point.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a special welcome to the family, relatives, and friends of our dear brother Darius. This afternoon, we want to do a special tribute for Darius, and therefore, we want to begin with the eulogy. Mr. Dunson Lodge is here. We want to start with the eulogy. If not, I want to invite, we have a poem. Bevan Bharat, is he here to do the poem, the tribute?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a poem for Darius on behalf of his dad. The angels are there waiting. The doors to heaven are open wide. A special guest is arriving. The angels are there waiting to escort you inside. There you will meet God the Father. Sitting at his right hand will be Jesus the Son. Before them will stand a great warrior. Yet another battle you have won. Here on earth there is much sadness. Many times we did not recognize your worth. You will receive your recognition from the highest. All your good deeds he has taken note. Here on earth many shed tears and show sadness. In heaven there is welcome shouts of joy. They are waiting to welcome one of earth's finest. They are waiting to welcome our little piggy boy. May our hearts always be united. May our hearts always beat as one. The love in our hearts we must never take for granted. Thank you for the lessons you taught me, my son. You will enter into God's kingdom. He knows your worth. That is why he chose you. A bright shining light through Solomon. With tears in my eyes, I say goodbye to you. As I watch you quickly walk away, knowing you will enter God's kingdom makes me happy. I love you, son. This is not a eulogy. We will meet again one day. Written by Bernard Edward Bharat, proud father of Darius Fabian Bharat.
Thank you, Bevan, for that beautiful tribute from Bernard. We are now going into the open floor aspect of these tributes. Anyone who wants to come and to share whether it's a memory, a prayer, we leave the floor open at this time. And I personally want to start it off by offering up a word of scripture, a very short word of scripture. And this scripture is taken from Romans 14, verses 7 to 9. None of us lives for himself only. None of us dies for himself only. If we live, it is for the Lord that we live. And if we die, it is for the Lord that we die. Whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. For Christ died and rose to life in order to be the Lord of the living and of the dead. So I just want to praise and thank God for his goodness and his mercy. I want to thank him for the gift of life that he bestowed on Darius and for the journey that he made. And I know it is because of God that he was allowed to do all the things that he did. And you present bear witness of the impact that he had on the lives of so many. So we thank God for that. Amen? Amen. I just want to recognize Deacon Harold. Deacon Harold, he will lead us in prayer this time.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. At times like these, the words really fail. The shock, the grief. We have to look to Jesus and see how to handle it. And how did Jesus handle it? When his friend Lazarus passed, even though he knew that he was going to bring him back to life, we are still told that Jesus wept. Medical research has indicated that if we don't grieve, the buildup of chemicals in our system can very well cause us to get ill. So that we have it both from the mouth of the Master as well as from Jesus himself, that we have to grieve. However, as St. Paul says in the letter to the Thessalonians, that he wants us to be quite certain that we must not grieve like those people who have no hope. And we have hope because all who know Darius have reported that he was a person who followed the Lord Jesus and his command, love one another as I have loved you. I had the opportunity of sitting with some of the cadets that were under his charge, and the response from them was that Sir would do anything for anybody. He put other people first. And that is what Jesus did. He put all of us first, not considering the negative that he had to bear for making that choice. And so Darius followed in the footsteps of Jesus. And as we heard in the gospel today, that is the commandment. Love one another. Even as I have loved you, that is how we must love one another. And Jesus says that he is going to decide who comes to the Father, who is on the right side and who is on the left side, based on not what we say, but on what we have done. Because what we have done reveals where our heart is. So after hearing the testimonies from those cadets, I knew that Darius is in a good place. Because by his actions, not only for in his battalion, but in other battalions, he was of service. So we know that this is not something that he happened to do because it was his responsibility, but he did it because it's so he stopped. And because that was how he was, we know that we have a good feeling. As my brother Deacon said, he was a good man. And now we say, Heavenly Father, we ask you to receive the soul of Darius. We know, Father, that all of us have sinned and have fallen short of the glory of God. But we know that in your mercy, whatever we ask of the Father, in the name of Jesus, he will grant us. And we ask that whatever sins he committed due to human weakness, that he should be forgiven and be drawn into the full beatific vision. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. We pray also for ourselves. All of us who we are sure that this is a dress rehearsal, because one day we will be in a box with our family and friends around us, praying for us. And we have to see, how are we going to live our lives like Darius lived his life, with the focus on what was best for the other. If we can do that, it means that his life was not in vain. He would have been a light to all of us. So we ask, Father, that you touch our hearts and let us come to that new and closer union with you that Darius, by his life, showed us is possible. We ask all of this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
So friends, we at Bell Grooves, it's always an honor to serve families. And one of the pleasures that we get from serving families, like the Bharat families, getting to know the honoree as the person. So we open the floor now and we ask that you come forward and tell your story, share your memories of Mr. Bharat, so that everybody else who wants to know a little more about him can do that.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Well, you heard the tribute that I gave at the church. I will not read that again. So I will just speak out of my own memory of Darius as an officer in my battalion. Darius had very good organizational skills. And for those of us in uniform who will know about the ternary returns we would have to send in, indicating the status of the units that we command. And there was never one month where Darius was late in his submission. He was always timely. Even for stipend, he would be one of the first persons to send his stipend sheets in. Very meticulous, well spoken, very articulate. I remember one parent having to complain, not about him, but to complain about her son was trimmed a little too low. So I was with my family at a line in Trinity River line. So I had to leave and take an earful from the parent. I said, well, okay, I will investigate. So when I called him in presentation to ask him, you know, for that side of the story, it was simply a humanitarian piece of work where, you know, a lot of them couldn't afford to get haircuts, and he would bring his machine and have it readily available to get standard military regulation haircuts. But you know, mothers like the hair, and my poor child and that kind of thing. So I had to do some damage control. But what I was happy about was that when I called him, he was very calm. He wasn't defensive. He defended his actions very nicely. That I admired about him. Last year in our annual training camp, he couldn't come to duty on a full-time basis because I think his granddad, was it? Grandmother, my apologies. She was not well. And he came to me and he said, I can come and serve during the daylight hours and I'll have to leave by about 8 because he had to stay and supervise or make sure he was at home. But really and truly, he came like an angel because the first 2 days of camp we were a bit topsy-turvy. And we had young officers doing the role of orderly officer. And he came obviously as a full lieutenant and everything just got calm. He had all the orderlies doing what they were supposed to do. Lunch ran on time and so on. And those are some of the fun memories I had, you know, of him. But something keeps playing in my mind. I remember when he came to me and he told me about his illness. I was overwhelmed and he was, you know, so strong and confident that all would be well. And I admired his strength in terms of how he was able to keep briefing me and giving me updates every so often until just recently he asked for his leave to be extended. So I said, Darius, that's the last thing you need to worry about. Why are you worried about your leave? Leave that up to me. I would handle that. And, well, we know how that went. But up to the last, he was very, confident about the fight. And I remember when I told him that our commandant was coming to visit him, he was so elated. I think the parents would know that. And he kept texting me, I need to know what time. I need to know what time because mom needs to know what time. And I said, okay, it's going to be 1. And I ran a little late. I think we got there about 15 minutes late. And, you know, he always respected those who were in command of him. And that is something that we cherish about him. It's something that we love about him. He will always be remembered in our hearts. I like the little magnet, a sticker that's going to go on my fridge. So that on mornings when I'm busy, I would have a look at him and remember the good works. And then I remember when I visited him at hospital last week, he wasn't speaking, but he was still able to move his hand, you know, to make contact and to acknowledge. No words were spoken on either side. And as I was about to leave and exit the door, I just heard, thank you for coming. I don't need to tell you what that would have done to me at that time. But in all of that, I think from the perspective of the cadet force, we really have to say thanks to his parents and his wonderful sister for having allowed us to have him. I was told that he missed a lot of family lines and family occasions because he had to be called to duty. Trust me, a lot of us face that. Long mouths and people not speaking to us for a while and so on. But we only do that to build our nation so that we'll have solid citizens, young men and women. I was just crossing the street outside and a police officer in the task force stopped the vehicle and said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Lucis." I honestly don't remember him, but I'm sure I would have impacted on his life at some point in time. I remember last week at the hospital, I heard somebody say that a police officer came to the hospital and was saying that he is who he is because of the contribution that Darius would have made. So, having said that, it is indeed an honor to have served next to Darius with him in youth development. It's sad to say goodbye to him, but we have to. Until we meet again, Darius, may your soul rest in peace.
Lieutenant Darius Bharat. 336, Lieutenant Darius Fabian Bharat. He is not absent. He has been called to duty elsewise. I came to say two things. And I tried to set up some people to speak, but his batch is quite emotional, and expectedly so. I recall a situation after Lieutenant Prasad Singh's wedding, where, for those of you who deal with cars, the crank and the camshaft sensor ain't working, so the vehicle ain't starting. And Darius, I am not to be blamed, but Darius had a hot date that night. And Darius drove off, and he didn't see me behind him, so he turned around. And I was quite comfortable. I would do a thing at 9 o'clock in the night. And he cancelled his date, and I said, no, and he refused to leave my side. He drove behind me to Shabonas. And that is the person that we have to say farewell to today. I dare say he's a better man than I am. He taught me a lot. And I don't know if Letitia told him about Paria. He didn't get a chance to? No worries. Darius' first Paria as an adult, he started walking, he started to lag behind. So I stayed with him, and in good stead, because I just got a Sam Cooke album, Best of Sam Cooke. I am singing Sam Cooke going on the road. And he said, "Leave me, you'll come back for me tomorrow." I said, "Darius, can't leave you. We're in the middle of the bush." And we eventually made it out at 7 o'clock in the night, darkness. And 8 years later, he was determined that he must make that hike. And 8 years later, when I came to meet them at Matlot, I told him, I said, hey, you're looking strong. He said, "I'm ready this time, I'm ready." And that is the determination of the man we say goodbye to. We say, "See you soon." Soon mean relative. So, at this juncture, on behalf of those from the Unit 7 family, those who like to believe that there was no Clifton before us and there will be no Clifton after us, he is one of the last of our gang. And we would like to say, rest in peace and farewell. Thank you.
Pleasant good afternoon.
Make it better. Thank you.
Darius is my batch. And I can remember how I got the message to go to that interview to become an adult. And it was through Facebook where Darius messaged me. And we all went together, we trained together. And we had some fun times together. It is hard to come to the understanding, but I think what is most important is the message in all of this that is being sent to us. And the message is that they don't have a specific date and time for anyone, and once God, who is responsible for us, ready, He's gonna call. And this morning I was listening to the radio station, and it was to do something with call. You know, sometimes, you know, people will be calling you and you could decide whether to answer the call or not, or return their call on a later date. But it is different when God calls us. There's no putting off, or God, I'll call you back tomorrow, I'm busy now. So we need to really look at ourselves and really wonder if when we get our call, if we're going to be ready. And being ready is not just about doing good things and helping your neighbor, and it's more than that. And somewhere in the Bible states it's not about your works, you know. And for us, we really need to ask ourselves the question, where are our faith? And who are we trusting in at the end of the day? Darius was a good cadet. We hear the stories, we heard the stories. Some of us lived through the stories, but just being a good cadet is not just about it. I think what is important is really us. We're seeing what's happening in our country today, in the world today, and we ask questions, why, and so on. We know Darius is not a drug lord or a bad boy in the block, but he ended up going. So, I'm saying all of this to say, is our relationship with Christ. He came and He died for us. God sent His only Son for us, so that we may have a relationship with Him. He died so that we will be able to close in that space between us, the world, and Him. So while we live in, we still have an opportunity. It's not late. It's not too late. I want to urge you all to build yourself, build a relationship with God, and it's nothing hard to do, right? I think that's the lesson that we should take from here. I know to his dad, his mom, and his sister, who has been by his side for throughout. He's not my blood brother, but I'm feeling the pain. It's hard to say his last parade I would ever have with him, but it's not my last days in trusting the God who asked him to return back to him. So, the just shall live by faith, and we should be the ones to prove that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Cadet, for that beautiful and powerful sharing. At this time, we want to recognize Mr. Dunstan Lodge, who will do the eulogy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Darius Fabian Bharat. It is indeed an honor for our family, my wife and I, to be asked to share in celebrating Darius's life. Darius was known to us through our son Jordan. We went to primary school together, and that's how the families met up. I guess you could say Darius was Jordan's first best friend, school friend. Yeah? Darius Fabian Bharat. Darius was quiet, protective, responsible, reliable. Those are some of the adjectives that his family and friends used to describe him. He was fondly known as Daru, and with his family he moved to New York. His dad Bernard, his mom Julianne, and sister Letitia for a short stint in 1991. Strangely enough, he became fluent in Spanish through his caregivers at the nursery. On the family's return, he entered the Shogunas Roman Catholic School, where he began his development academically, spiritually, and socially. As a child, country life was part of Darius's formation. With both his parents coming from Cedros, August holidays by his Auntie Shuma was a must. Still at a time when children played children's games, then Flintstones, Ninja Turtles, Batman, Darius and Letty would join forces with Nadine and Kellon to keep the holidays exciting. Darius even went as far as baptizing Kellon into the Catholic faith, as Kellon wanted to go to the Shogunas Catholic school. He spent endless hours at the beach with his granddad, Uncle Roll, even venturing out on short boat rides and making happy memories. As an active child, he took an interest in school activities. But more so, he was concerned that his sister Letitia was comfortable at school and in need of nothing. We are told that he would say, "You're going home just now, Letitia, just now." Telling her this even when the morning bell had not yet rung. And he would play the role of school crossing guard across the street on the way home. He met his crew, primary school crew, from as early as the infants department. Our son was part of that crew, many others, and moved up to Mr. Brown's Common Entrance class in Standard 5. That crew didn't. They walked home from school, they saw each other to their respective drop-off points along the way. Several times they would be picked up by a parent or the other and dropped to the various houses. They became members of the school's 4-H club, and they engaged in playing video games whenever they could and were allowed to. They would have active discussions about their video gaming exploits, even at that age. Darius also loved reading and kept his book collection in pristine condition, often using gloves to handle them. And he loved the smell of a newly purchased keepsake. The physical closeness to the primary school crew would end as he graduated to the Presentation College in 1999. In this year, he was the only student to pass a presentation, clear indication of his academic ability. His school principal at the time, this is primary school principal, Mr. Samuel Joseph, spoke proudly of Darius, even before he had achieved this, as if he knew and he was convinced of Darius's potential. Whilst it was a little sad that the primary school crew was not moving together, they remained in touch and they broadened their friendships to new and deeper friendships in secondary school, with Amal becoming Darius's first friend at secondary school. Pressure bonus was a new phase and a very important one. It laid the academic foundation for his chosen profession in information technology. It was a presentation as well that Darius joined the Trinidad and Tobago Cadet Force, through which much of his life purpose was to be fulfilled. Despite the challenges of training and personal development, utilizing rigorous methods, Darius stayed the course, committed and convinced that it was where he needed to be fulfilled. To Bernard, his dad, it did not seem to match the calm, easygoing, non-confrontational character of his. In the end, Bernard admired his perseverance to surmount the challenges as he blossomed into the dependable and faithful lieutenant he became. Once Darius made up his mind to do something, you would know that it would be done to completion, and you can depend on him to bring it home. With the cadet activities also came the things he enjoyed: hiking and camping with his fellow brother and sister cadets. However, one of the family's first major challenges came with Bernard's diagnosis in 2000, with a degenerative spine condition and him having to undergo surgery in 2001. In Bernard's own words, Darius became a man. Still in his teens and at secondary school, he would assume the responsibility for the household. He was attentive to all their needs, and despite any disagreements that would take place in the household, Darius never refused them anything. He was a caring son. During this phase, it was a testing time for the family, and Darius quietly attended to doing his part. There was a dedication to put things in place to keep the household functioning well. His years at UWI St. Augustine, Faculty of Natural Sciences, created a path for his full academic qualifications in the field of IT. He graduated in 2012 with a BSc in Computer Science and Management, and continued to make lasting friendships with his colleagues at UWI. And so he embarked into the world of work, first at PCS Nitrogen as an intern, and then on to Precision Point Limited. The friendships continued to form and endure as he made way for Shiva, giving him a recommendation to join PCS Nitrogen's internship program. His final place of work until February 2019 was at Indus Pro Systems as an information technology technician. This is a Canadian-based company with offices in Montreal, Chagonas. And of course, there was lots of potential there. Who knows what that could have turned out to be. To a large extent, Darius was a very private person, often offering a small smile in response to conversation. Humility, yes, it was a characteristic everyone encountered with him. Whether work, academics, voluntary activities. He stayed away from making comparisons with others, content with enjoying his achievements quietly. He would say, "Mommy, don't call out any grades when receiving exam results. Just say we passed the exams." This embraced his valiant attempt never to make others feel inferior to him. All his life, Darius was a healthy young man. However, he was diagnosed with gastric cancer in January of 2019. A second opinion on the diagnosis was obtained in Florida, where the treatment and regime for fighting the disease was prepared. He received the best medical attention available, both at the private and public medical facilities, ending in the palliative care from Dr. Stacy Chamley. She prepared him for his transition from this earthly life with dignity and spiritual support. The entire Bharat family is thankful for this encounter with the excellent medical professionals, both locally and internationally. Darius was brought up in the Catholic faith and received his spiritual grounding through the sacraments right up to confirmation. As any intelligent young person seeking his true purpose in life, he questioned his faith and that of his relationship with God, his Creator. His family will be the first to admit that he was not the perfect human being that most people describe. During his illness, however, Darius came into a deepening of his faith and a connection with God, demonstrated by his unrelenting desire for the Eucharist and a manifestation of a joy in the Lord to the very end. He was sacramentally ready to move on and accept transition to the next phase of his existence, an example to us whom he has touched. Darius lived his purpose here on earth, and although his service was not the church, he lived service to mankind and gave to all God's people. He did more than his part to bring young persons that he encountered to a place where they too are prepared to do more than their part for mankind. As the renowned Booker T. Washington said, if you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. And Darius was a consummate lifter. We're not human beings that have an occasional spiritual experience, but rather spiritual beings that have occasional human experiences. Each of us would have had a unique experience with Darius, which we have kept in our hearts. I make a commitment on behalf of each of us present and those who are not here today, whom Darius has touched, to nurture and to grow that unique experience from today onwards. We must do this in celebration of his life and the seeds that he has sown. Let it not be in vain. For a life of dedicated service to mankind, we say to Darius, Requiescat in pace, rest in peace, son. You're a true servant leader. Thank you. So we want to continue the tributes at this time. Is there anybody else who would like to share?
This is a pleasant evening to everyone. Sandwich and Michelle. Let's call the cadets and everything. Bharat always text me privately and say, Howard, when we go in, how the cadets have plenty vibes. Because you know, use the vibes, man. I say, well, sir, I'm going to try my best, right? So, come. Quick time. So when we're on the trail, you know, we have songs we'll be singing, right? So just want to give what their little taste of what we'll be doing. Zige. Oi. Zige. Oi. Zige. Oi. Zige. Oi, oi. Zige. Oi. LT, Bharat. LT, Bharat. LT, Bharat. Zige, Oi. Zige, Oi. And this is the things Bharat like it. He always say Howard, he's a very good warrant officer. Lead your unit with pride. He say all you have to be a little humble, because you know a little hasty. He say Howard, all you have to do is be a little humble, and everything will come. I know one night I was going through my messages with LT Brad, and he said, Howard, I'm stressing my mind. I said, sir, don't stress. He said, I can't wait for Friday to come and go. I said, why? He said, my brother, he said, you stay humble and everything will happen for you. Right? And the major spoke on earlier. He was called for audience for a haircut. It was Bharat and I. And I was the first person to go in the room. And when I reached out, I let hasty about the situation. And Bharat told me, he said, Howard, when they go in the room, be humble. He said, don't speak until you're spoken to. And exactly what he said that night, I did it. And I take his advice. I went to the room, I listened to the major and what they say, and I came back out. He said, brother, how it was? I said, so it was good. He said, right. He said, go and get some rest now. So I went to and get rest. The Monday morning now, the Friday. I went the Sunday with Captain right out to see him. And when I went in the room, I couldn't bear it. Because I know the Bharat I know. The Bharat I know, I was lively. And the whole week I couldn't sleep, and I see his sister pop up post. I said, what's going on here, buddy? I said, this is madness. He ain't gone yet. I started to text her down. He said, oh, you want to see him? I said, of course. I said, when I could see him? I said, I could see him in the morning. She said, yeah, go ahead. She said, go tell your mother. And when I went in the room, I said, Bharat, remember you tell me, he's Batman and I Robin. And I say, Batman will always find a way to come out of this situation. He said, brother, don't worry. I will fight, and you continue doing what you're doing. And we sat there, we talked for a while. He said, where's the verdict for tomorrow? I said, so you don't worry about that. We can handle the exam on them. So while Bharat was laying there, he was always asking what's going on with the cadets. And this is our brother here, is lying on here this evening. We're saying goodbye to our brother. I don't know about everybody else. I saying goodbye to my recruit sergeant here, my mess member, one of the best officers, and a humble man. And I just want to say, may his soul rest in peace until we meet again. Zige! Oi! Zige! Oi! Zige, zige! Oi, oi! Thank you very much.
Anybody from the family would like to say something? To share a memory?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Sherry. I did not plan to come before you, but I want to thank you for supporting our family during this short period of Darius's illness. I have seen your strength. We have gotten so much stronger because of you, and we really want to thank God for you all allowing Darius to be part of your life. It was a privilege for us to give him to you all as the cadet force I'm speaking to. We enjoyed looking at him and smelling the polish and smelling knowing that matches was being lit in the room, trying to slick the shoes. We know all of that. And we saw the pleasure that he took in his uniform, in himself, and that brought great joy to us. As a son, he brought pride to us. And we thank God for all those persons who have been a part of his life. His grandparents, grandparents, my parents, his uncles, who he looked up to them, his cousins, and all the family relations. Family was important to him. Yes, even as Major said, he did miss out sometimes because of his commitment, and that we have forgiven him for, Major. So on behalf of myself, my husband Bernard, my daughter Letitia, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of our lives. We want to thank the many doctors who became part of our life during this 5 months. We want to thank all of you who took time to come to visit him at home as well as in the hospital. It meant a lot to him. even though he might have said little. For all those people who prayed all the time, the priests, the religious, abroad and locally, to all my parishioner sister friends and friends, I'm grateful that you all are continuing to pray for us because we have gained strength from your prayer. So today I just want to thank God for the many families that our son adopted and the many families who adopted him. I pray that his life would not just be a memory, but that the good things that he did would have an impact on your family. This is a lesson for us, that God give it and God take it. It doesn't matter the age. For us who are aging, it's a wake-up call for us. We might be 60, 70, 80, but we did not do what God sent us to do. My child, our child, has left us at 32 years, but he has served mankind. He has left a lot of young people knowing that there's a better side to life. And I thank God for that. I pray that my child's soul will rest in peace, and the memories that he has left with us will live on positively. Eternal rest grant unto Darius Bharat, O Lord. Eternal rest grant unto Darius Bharat, O Lord. Eternal rest grant unto Darius Bharat, O Lord. Farewell, Daru. Farewell, son. We will always love you.
Positive young man. I think our nation needs more like him. The service that he has given through the cadets will live on. His family, I'm sure, set him up for that. What we're going to do at this time is the final viewing. It's going to be very simple. We will ask those of you who are standing at the back to come forward. You're going to make your way down the center aisle, and you view, and you filter back out down the left aisle. The immediate family will view last. His mother, father, and sister. Once they have completed viewing, we will then close the casket and take his body to the east of the room, just in front of the retort, where we will begin the cremation process. At that point in time, final prayers will be said, and he will be taken into the room, the doors will be closed, and the process of cremation will begin. So if we can ask the cadets to come forward to remove the flag so we can open the casket.
Oh Lord, I know you are near, standing always at my side. You guard me from the foe, and you standing always at my side. You guard me from the foe, and you lead me in ways everlasting. Where can I run from your love? If I climb to the heavens, you are there. If I fly to the sunrise or sail beyond the sea, still I find you there. Oh Lord, I know you are near, standing always at my side. You guard me from the foe, and you lead me in ways everlasting. You know my heart and its ways. You who formed me before I was born, in the secret of darkness before I saw the sun, in my mother's womb. Oh Lord, I know you are near, standing always at my side. You guard me from the foe, and you lead me in ways everlasting. Marvelous to me are your works, how profound your thoughts, my Lord, number as the stars.
Eternal rest, grant unto him, O Lord, and let your light shine upon him. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Oi, are there? How about you?